I now give you the Bovine Allied Milk Production Company, written by Bridie Banwell and read by me, Dave Carrington.
Well, I'd never have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. It all kicked off last Saturday afternoon in Father Griffith's southeast corner field during the monthly meeting of the union members of the Bovine Allied Milk Production Company, or just plain dairy cattle to the layman. I had called for order, me being in charge of the meeting as elected chairman, or chair cow in my case. Daisy, Eugenia, Florence, Myrtle, and other members of the Frisian branch were much more interested in chewing the lush green grass than in taking any notice of my call for order. This action resulted in the most noxious of gases escaping from their somewhat overlarge behinds. I mooed in what was meant to be my authoritative tone, but the loud and insistent call for order was totally ignored. I have to admit that Frisians are not the most intelligent members of our species, so I was extremely fortunate to have inherited a touch of genuine organisational skills from my mother Ermentrude. Or maybe it was from my father Boris. In the past he had won numerous awards, and Boris now owned an impressive collection of trophies and rosettes from the various country shows he'd appeared in over many years. Mind you, he was no shrinking violet. He swaggered around Farmer Griffith's 60-acre hilltop farm, leaving no doubt in anyone's mind that he was a prize-winning bull. His behaviour either sparked a feeling of intimidation or devotion, according to the other farm animals' points of view. Anyway, enough about my parentage. Time to get back to the incident. I had just about had enough of mooing my lungs out, and when that seemed doomed to failure, I decided on another tactic in which to bring the girls into line and convene the meeting. Well, convene is the wrong word to use, as that would presume that the meeting had already started, and I hadn't even managed to gain one iota of attention from any of the other members of our dairy herd. I was not exactly a shrinking violet myself. I must admit that was largely due to the genes inherited from my father Boris. I had also inherited a pretty large and impressive body. This bulk was a definite advantage when used to assert my authority over the girls. I had also learned a few tips from Sam, the sheepdog, on the art of rounding up the sheep. He told me the first rule is to look the animals straight in the eye and show them you mean business. So that is exactly what I did. I gently pushed out my hefty backside and started gently nudging with sheer determination, beginning with Daisy. Once she came to order, the others soon fell into line one by one, just as the sheep always do for Sam. I made a mental note to thank Sam the next time I saw him. I owed him that. At long last, I had, thankfully, gained the undivided attention of every single union member. I started covering the first order of business, which was the same gripe we all complained of. It was the main point of this meeting, and indeed others previously. The question being, what if anything could be done about the intensely cold suction pipe ends of the brand new, spanking new, ever so expensive milking machine that Farmer Griffiths was so proud of acquiring. I doubted there was a solution at all, but the subject had to be brought up. This was mainly for the benefit of the girls. They could have a good rant about it, voice their grievances, then clear the air to make way for the other important business on this month's agenda. I could see the girls were grateful for the mention of the freezing cold suction pipes first. They proceeded to have a long and protracted gripe about the indignity of being milked so uncomfortably by the new machine. They ranted on until they got it all off their chests, and 10 minutes later had finished, and silence reigned at last. I proceeded with the next point of the meeting, satisfied that they gave me their full and undivided attention. Great, I thought. At last we are getting somewhere. The meeting was now progressing at a swift pace. I had just asked the girls for a vote on the last point of order. 1 moo for yes, or 2 moos indicated a no. I turned around to look behind me for a second, and all hell broke loose. An ear-splitting scream of loud mooing from each member, protesting as one. I jerked my head smartly to the forefront. I could hardly believe my eyes. A dozy-looking, big grey donkey had not only had the temerity to break through the fence from the sanctuary of the adjoining field, he was now, in fact, helping himself to the contents of our feeding trough. Without so much as a "by your leave," he tucked into our rations. Well, the girls went crazy. First they took to mooing as an ear-deafening crescendo. The donkey did not bat so much as an eyelash, just ignored them completely and carried on eating. Their anger was terrifying to watch close up. They worked in harmony to surround the donkey. He then realized they meant business and finally tried to make his escape. They ganged up and surrounded him as effectively as any military tactician would advise. Then, encircling him and nudging gently but firmly, they smartly escorted him to the fence. When they arrived at the point at which he had entered, they trampled the wire fence just enough to fit his body through. Then, with a hefty heave from Daisy's very large derriere, the donkey was almost catapulted into the air and landed with a thud in the sanctuary from where he came. For a moment, he did not know what had hit him. Cross-eyed with shock, it took him a little while to get his bearings. He did, however, get the message loud and clear. Keep out. It was a message he would not forget in a hurry. And the monthly meeting had come to an abrupt and dramatic end.